Hi, I'm Lee Burkeen with Louisiana Football Magazine. Excited to be back for 13 years. And we have a special guest tonight, first-time basketball guest, Dale Brown, legendary basketball coach of the LSU Tigers. Really glad to have him. We've got much more with the bar principal, Randy Yellott, will be calling in later in the show. We're going to talk about his quarterback, Luke Richard, one of the top quarterbacks in Louisiana at Barbe High School, and much, much more. You're watching Louisiana Football TV Magazine.
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain? Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
Louisiana Office Solutions Company is the complete answer for all your office products and janitorial supply needs. From supplies for school or your home office, to styrofoam cups for your restaurant, to pallets of paper and cleaning supplies for your business. Choose from a large selection of furniture from chairs to desks for office or home, traditional and contemporary styles, or work with our design team to create a complete furniture layout for your building. So call or come by Louisiana Office Solutions Company on Florida at Lobdell, where everyone is welcome.
Delta World Tire is 100% committed to making every part of your experience with us hassle-free and pleasant. Whether it's tires, brakes, oil change, or scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire's highest priority is serving you. If you're traveling this season, Delta World Tire is here to help you make sure your vehicle is road ready. If the tire needs replacing, the oil needs changing, or any other scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire wants to make sure you get there.
We're Delta World Tire.
Welcome back. Very thankful to be back for our 13th season. And look, these are our covers. If you're looking in Shreveport or Houma, Louisiana, or Lake Charles, or anywhere that the show can be viewed, this is our South cover on the left with our top South recruits, and on the right, our North cover. And you can go to our website to get a copy. If you can't find one, just call our office, or the website will come up right here, lafootballmagazine.com, to get a copy. Your son may be in the magazine. We don't have every kid in the magazine, but Coach Brown, we have most of the kids. We try and do everything. You can never please everyone, right?
That's true.
Dale Brown, thank you for taking the time in your busy schedule to be here today, to be on our show for the first time.
I've watched your show for several years, and I liked it for a combination reason. You know what you're talking about. You don't interrupt people, and don't have an inflated ego. But after a few times, I started to watch you. You were good, but I thought, I wonder if you'll ever have a basketball person on the show. And am I seriously the first one?
You are the first. But, hey, we get the best first.
Yeah, yeah.
In Dale Brown from North Dakota.
I bet you don't know the capital. Aha.
I know Minot is your
Minot.
town, right? Minot.
And the capital is? Nobody knows it. Don't be embarrassed.
Don't know.
Bismarck.
Bismarck.
Now, Sailor behind the camera. Do you know how to spell Bismarck, Sailor?
Working on
it. Nobody knows the capital, and nobody knows how to spell it. So.
Well, I do have a friend, Corey Tatum, in the great Lafayette, Louisiana, who played at North Dakota University, was an offensive lineman from Monroeville, Alabama, which is between Montgomery and Mobile. Mm-hmm. And Corey, I told Corey that, I said, Dale's going to be on the day. He was excited. And he said, tell Dale that he was in college when Phil Jackson was at North Dakota, who I know that you know Phil Jackson, the Chicago Bulls
Know him well.
championship
My
coach.
high school team played Williston High School, and Phil, of course, was the superstar.
That's we have a lot to talk about. Actually, we're going to have a video in segment 2. Dick Gregory, the late Dick Gregory, who was friends with Dale Brown, will have a great piece. We also have Matthew McConaughey has a great piece, motivation video later in the show. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Coach Brown, you've traveled to 90 countries, all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned?
I've learned, I used to sit on the fire escape at night, dreaming. We didn't have a car, didn't have a bike, dreaming of several things. One, the French call it idée fixe. Whatever you fix in your mind and you will it, it'll happen. And I used to think, man, never been out of North Dakota. I'd really like to travel around the world. How am I going to travel around the world? My mother's on welfare. We live in a one-room apartment above a bar and a hardware store. And the second thing, North Dakota's as flat as this table. I want to climb the Mount Everest. I want to climb Zermatt. I want to do Matterhorn. I want to do all that. Well, 90 countries. I climbed the Matterhorn.
Incredible. We talked about it before the show, and it was an interesting story how you were offered the head coaching job at Washington State prior to coming to LSU, and that they really wanted you to be the head coach, but you were not really sold or keen on the idea of taking over. And then Carl Maddox called you the next day. Tell everybody about that. That's pretty interesting, how you got to LSU.
I went to Washington State from Utah State. The head coach, after the year I was there, he got fired. The day he got fired, later on in the day, the AD called me in his office, said, I'm appointing you tomorrow the head basketball coach at Washington State. Mr. Ray Nagel was his name, and I said, Ray, I can't take this job. He said, why? I said, first of all, I don't ever want to think this coach thinks I stabbed him in any way.
Right.
I just wouldn't feel comfortable with it. But I'll see who the new coach is, and if I like it, I'll stay here. Went home that night, 7 o'clock at night, the same day, Carl Maddox called, wanted me to come down for an interview. And the rest is history. And you talk about a great athletic director and a great man.
And if he doesn't call, like things are meant to be, but Dale, Coach, if he doesn't call, who knows? You might still be on the West Coast, or
I might have been at the North Dakota being a high school coach. I could have been happy in either situation.
Did you ever, how did Carl, did Carl, you know, back then it's not like today where you hire a firm to call someone for $500,000, but back then, how did it work? I mean, Carl, I guess, knew someone, or he was, you know, had his head to
I asked Carl Maddox, I said, Carl, how'd you ever get my name? He said, well, I didn't know anything about basketball. I coached football at LSU. I was a football high school coach. I played football. So I didn't really know much about basketball. So he said, the guy that knew a lot about basketball was Joe Dean, former player here, played in the NBA, blah, blah, blah. He said, Converse Rubber Company. So I called him, had him come to the office, and I said, Joe, tell me the 5 best head coaches in the country. He named them. I'm going to bring them in. Tell me the 5 best assistants in the country. He named them, and your name was on that list. And he, by the way, he offered the job, I think, to the 5 head coaches. They all turned it down.
Well, after a long career, the most successful head coach in basketball, brought, I think, as a kid growing up in Louisiana in the 70s and 80s, brought basketball to Louisiana and marketed the sport when no one was talking about basketball in Louisiana. When we come back, I'm going to plug pretty much when we come back, we're going to have a great video from Dick Gregory. And I'm going to let Coach Brown ask me some basketball questions just to test my basketball.
Are you sure?
my basketball IQ compared to football. So we'll have fun with that. We'll be back in just a moment.
Finally got me, Ben.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes. For decades, it's tormented the people of this town. They try to fill it, but it always returns. Got me good.
But you know State Farm's got you, too.
You ain't nothing!
Are you trash talking a pothole?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call or visit State Farm agent Bill Barkas in Baton Rouge today.
Delta World Tire is 100% committed to making every part of your experience with us hassle-free and pleasant. Whether it's tires, brakes, oil change, or scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire's highest priority is serving you. If you're traveling this season, Delta World Tire is here to help you make sure your vehicle is road ready. If the tire needs replacing, the oil needs changing, or any other scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire wants to make sure you get there.
We're Delta World Tire.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
Nobody burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Well, my she shed's on fire.
The she shed was struck by lightning.
Zachary, is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
She shear?
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful news.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call or visit State Farm agent David Bryan in Walker today.
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen. Dale Brown, the legendary Dale Brown, is our guest, former LSU head basketball coach. We've got a video that I want to that Dale supplied for us on the late Dick Gregory. If some don't know who Dick Gregory is, he's a very famous speaker and super smart gentleman that Dale knew. And let's go ahead and bring that video up. And Dale, you can talk when we show the video too, but let's go ahead and show the video. We'll get to it in a second, I guess.
There was one person. If God said, I need somebody to run the world, who? Be Dale Brown. There'd be no hunger. There'd be no illiteracy.
That looks like Shaquille back there with a big S on his chest. Shaquille's, that's what he's got, the S, Superman. Huh? You look like Superman. What's your name?
There'd be no unfairness.
Dale Brown is a fantastic white person.
Don't tell anybody I got the business. When you finish school, if you have grades to get into LSU or Southern, I'll pay your tuition to go to school for 4 years. Okay?
And the reason I say Dale Brown is a fantastic white person, because Dale Brown, it did more for race relations in the state of Louisiana than any politician ever was able to accomplish. It mushroomed into desegregating every aspect of black life in the state of Louisiana.
We also see plays like Much Ado About Nothing. Subtle.
And somewhere, he brought a ray of sunlight there. And because of him, real crops started growing. Not the crops that'll make you win a basketball game, but the crops that'll change humanity.
Look at that.
What a great piece there, Coach Brown, Dick Gregory. That was a one, and ended it with the big Shaq.
Yep. The little girl was an interesting story. Many people do not really know who Shaq is. They think he's the slam dunk and the diesel and all this. He looks like the exterminator, but he's really Bambi on the inside. I'm going to give you two stories. This is one of them. He was staying at a local hotel, and he called me, and he told me, Coach, he said, I stayed at this hotel, and he said, you got to come down. This woman works here. She's got a little tiny daughter, and she's a dwarf, and he said, she's so sweet, and I really want to help them. So I came down, met them. That was it. When we left, he said, Coach, find out that little girl's address. He says, I want to do something nice for him. He did do something nice. But the best story, I do a lot of motivational speaking. Can I open up to questions afterwards? Sure. So first question, tell us about Shaquille. The most prominent story I can tell you about him did not occur on the basketball court. Here is the real Shaquille O'Neal. The Lakers were playing the Indiana Pacers in Indianapolis. If they lost the game that night in the NBA playoffs, it was over. They're the national champs. So it's a very important game. That day of the game, I got a call from a woman in Indianapolis. Told me she had a 9-year-old son that had a cancerous brain tumor. He's been operated on. He's in a coma. Doesn't look like he's going to live. She's, Coach, I know this is presumptuous of me. Is there any way Shaquille could call my son on my cell and he could at least die hearing that voice? Shaquille's his hero. I said, that's a big thing. I don't think I can get it done, but I'll call him. So I called him. When he's going to do something, he'll say, gotcha, Coach, gotcha, Coach. 2 years later, I'm sitting with T.J. Moran and John Wooden in T.J. Ribs having lunch. Young man standing off on the side, and he comes over to talk to us, but a woman came around the corner about the same time. And she said, Coach Brown, you probably don't remember me, but she said, I called you from Indianapolis. She said, I knew exactly who you are. Your son was dying of cancer. You wanted me to call Shaquille and have him come to the hospital, or call him on the cell phone. Did he do it? She said, no, he never called. He didn't. She said, no. He came to the hospital and sat with that child for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
He sang to him, he fed him, he told him jokes. My son woke up and talked to him.
Great guy.
You're not going to see that in the headlines.
No. Coach, everybody loves to know, actually my friend from Lafayette that went to North Dakota University, Shaq went to San Antonio Cole High School, correct?
Correct.
But you knew him much way back when he wasn't even in the United States, him and his dad. But people are very interested about that story, how you got to get Shaq to convince him to come to LSU.
I guess thank the State Department for it. I got a call from the State Department. This is the time during communism in East Germany. And they were massing 90,000 troops on the East German border. And they wanted me to go over and start in southern Germany and work up to the last spot and talk to the troops and the officers. So the last spot I was at was a place called Wildflecken, up in the mountains. Historically, when Europe's invaded, they'll come through there. We had a cracked armor division. I was anxious to get home, packing my bag, get a tap on the shoulder, and I turn around. Here was a man about 6'9", 250. I noticed he was dressed very neatly, kind of shy, a big guy. And he stuttered, Coach Brown, I'll be trying out for the team here. And he said, I can't dunk a ball. And I run up and down the court about 3-4 times, and my lower extremities tire. Can you show me some exercises to build these up? I said, do you have a weight room here? No, we don't. Let me show you some non-resistance. So I spent about 10 minutes showing him non-resistant exercises. I said, let me get you, wait a minute. Went and got a pen and piece of paper, and I said, what I'll do, young man, I said, when I get back to Baton Rouge, I'll send you our weight training program, soldier. I said, how long you been in service? He looks around like this. Coach Brown, I'm not in service. I'm only 13 years old. I said, you are?
6'9", 250, yeah.
Yeah. What size shoe do you wear, son? 17. I said, what are you doing here? My dad's a career military man. Well, it all started with this situation.
That's amazing.
And the story now has an interesting ending to it. I got home, I sent him the weight program immediately. About 6 to 8 weeks later, I got a letter from him. Dear Coach Brown, I did everything you told me to do. My high school coach cut me off the team. He told me I'm too slow, too clumsy, too big a feet. I could never be a basketball player. What should I do? I'm pondering, what kind of a profound statement am I going to make to a 13-year-old child that just had his heart broken? I'm just going to tell him about my life. And I wrote the following. Dear Shaquille, I'm so sorry what happened to you, but every time in my life when I heard somebody say, yeah, he didn't have a dad, his dad abandoned him, his mother's on welfare, he'll never make it, blah, blah, blah. I tried the following, and it worked for me, and I bet it'll work for you. If you always try to do your very best and never give up under any conditions, sooner or later, God will take care of everything else.
That's
the rest
true.
is history.
And Coach, I loved how he remembered as a 13-year-old. He remembered that you took the time to help him.
Right.
Great story. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we got more of Dale Brown. Lots to talk about. We're going to talk about basketball and see if Dale can ask me some basketball trivia. Hopefully I'll do okay. We'll be right back.
Delta World Tire is 100% committed to making every part of your experience with us hassle-free and pleasant. Whether it's tires, brakes, oil change, or scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire's highest priority is serving you. If you're traveling this season, Delta World Tire is here to help you make sure your vehicle is road ready. If the tire needs replacing, the oil needs changing, or any other scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire wants to make sure you get there.
We're Delta World Tire.
Handling a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 888-8888 or go to getgordon.com.
Louisiana Office Solutions Company is the complete answer for all your office products and janitorial supply needs. From supplies for school or your home office, to styrofoam cups for your restaurant, to pallets of paper and cleaning supplies for your business. Choose from a large selection of furniture from chairs to desks for office or home, traditional and contemporary styles, or work with our design team to create a complete furniture layout for your building. So call or come by Louisiana Office Solutions Company on Florida at Lobdell, where everyone is welcome.
Finally got me, Ben.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes. For decades, it's tormented the people of this town. They try to fill it, but it always returns. Got me good.
But you know State Farm's got you, too.
You ain't nothing.
Are you trash talking a pothole?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call or visit State Farm agent Jim Crane in Baton Rouge today.
Okay, welcome back. Lee Burkeen here with Dale Brown, legendary coach of LSU basketball. This is the first time ever to have basketball. I grew up loving basketball. People say, well, Lee, you're a football guy. I do love football, but I was passionate about playing basketball, but I didn't get tall. You know, I mean, you got to be, you know, I wasn't Spud Webb for the guys growing up in my age group. I wasn't that guy. So, but I loved basketball growing up. And Dale, I think people would get a kick out of it. It just, off the top of your head, I mean, and I hope I do okay, but as far as names, any questions for me with basketball?
I would say watching your program numerous times, I thought he must hate basketball.
No.
He never talks about it. He never.
No.
So I'll give you a few little questions. Who was the, how many foreign players did I have at LSU? And name them for me.
Zoran Jovanovic.
Zoran Jovanovic. From where?
Bukovic.
Jovanovic. But from Serbia. Nebojša Bukamirovic, Serbia.
Gerd Hammock.
The Netherlands.
Jose Vargas.
Jose Vargas, Dominican Republic.
Eddie Palabiscus.
Eddie Palabiscus, Australia.
Doing okay?
You're doing pretty good, but you're not done yet.
All right.
That's 5.
That's 5, okay. Oh, more guys from overseas. You might have me at those 5, though, Coach.
Hernan Montenegro, Argentina, who could have been one of the great players of all time. Danny Moskovitz from Israel. Jole Palfe from Hungary.
Wow.
You did pretty good.
Those are the early 70s.
Now, okay, so I'll give you, that was a pretty tough question. Name for me at least 10 players that I coached that played in the NBA. At least 10.
That played in the NBA. Chris Jackson, Shaquille O'Neal, Jerry Reynolds, Howard Hossey Carter, Cup of Coffee, Ricky Blanton, Rudy Macklin.
6.
Maurice Williamson for a short time.
Correct. No. Maurice, no.
From Connecticut.
No. 6. There's a lot more than 10, so I'm giving you some leeway here.
Okay, 6. Okay, let me think of the centers. Stanley Roberts. I said Shaq.
Stanley's not from. Stanley, yeah, Stanley.
Stanley Roberts.
Correct.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Correct, 8.
Greg Cook. Cookie
Nope.
Man. He didn't play in the NBA?
No.
Leonard Mitchell.
Nope.
Continuing on, Nikita Wilson.
Nope.
Nikita Wilson from Leesville.
Yes.
Let's see. NBA. Oh, John Williams. Crenshaw High School. Crenshaw High School,
Correct.
California.
Hey, one more. Come on.
One more.
You can do it. You're at the tape. Don't
one
give
more.
up.
I'm thinking of by position. By position. Centers, power forwards, small forwards,
There's
two guards.
more than 10, but who's the 10th one? From Mississippi.
Vernell Singleton?
No. One last chance, Lee, to see if you know any basketball.
From Mississippi.
His initials are MC.
Chris Jackson.
MC. Maurice Carter.
Maurice Carter, yeah. Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Murrow.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yeah, good.
Gulfport High School, Chris Jackson.
Yep, good.
Right.
You missed another one. I'm offended, and so is North Dakota. You don't know the capital, and you don't even know the one North Dakota player I had that played in the NBA.
Glenn Hansen.
Ah, good.
Any more basketball? It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Who was the last school to integrate their basketball program in the SEC?
The last school.
I've asked now, this is an unfair question. I've asked numerous people that are in the business, even the SEC office. Kent Lowe hasn't gotten back to me on it. So I'm asking you.
Kentucky?
Nope.
Vanderbilt?
Nope. They had Perry Walker, Percy Walker. What was it? Walker?
Ole Miss?
Nope. LSU.
LSU?
College Temple.
College
to the best of
Temple.
my knowledge. Nobody's got the concrete answer, but to the best of my knowledge, he was.
College is from Kentwood.
Yeah.
That's where my dad's
Honor
from.
student. Really and truly.
My dad was from Kentwood, Greensburg.
Honor student.
The first.
Yeah.
And that year was, Coach?
Well, I came here in 1972, and Presmarovich recruited him. And I would say that would be 1970 then,
Okay.
69 or 70.
Born in 70, giving away my age.
Yeah.
I grew up watching LSU basketball. Some of my favorite players on that 80-81 team. Dwayne Scales was another one that I liked.
Dwayne Scales played in the NBA. Stefan Johnson played in the NBA.
Even Jordy Holtberg that got a bunch of minutes.
The blonde bomber.
Leonard Mitchell.
I'm impressed. How come you haven't got basketball
Wayne
here?
Sims.
Who?
Wayne Sims.
Wayne Sims didn't play in the NBA, but a good, solid player.
But Calvin Nat did.
Calvin Nat didn't come here, though. We messed
That's
up
right.
on him.
I was going to ask you that.
Hey,
yeah.
can I say something to you? I screwed up on more occasions.
I was going to ask you, Coach, who was the one recruit that if you sit around and say, I thought I had him, out of all your years of recruiting, who was that one? Is there one or two that you like? Was it Othello Harrington from Jackson Murrah?
Benoit Benjamin committed to us when he got on the airplane.
Went to Creighton.
Correct. He committed to us when he got on the airplane. He was on the steps of the airplane and said, he's coming, Coach. I'm going to be a Tiger. So I was really happy about it. I don't know if I called Sports Information to tell him that he's going to sign or whatever. So that night, I'm watching television, and it comes on that, well, today, Benoit Benjamin has committed to Creighton University. Wait a minute. 6 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, he's coming to LSU.
Right.
But the biggest screw-up, numerous screw-ups I had. I helped a guy, the basketball coach from the Czech Republic, get out of the Czech Republic during communist time and get to the Netherlands. Vladimir Hager, nice guy. He called me and he says, Coach, he coached in the national team. He said, I got a kid here. He's pushing 7'3", he said. He's a 6'7", He said, he can play.
Sabonis.
Nope. I'll tell you a story on
Yo,
Sabonis,
mean.
too. You should have more basketball people on here. You got to get Kenny Ullman and Gary Dewey, two of the best high school coaches in the country. So he said, I got a kid I want you to come and see. So I went and watched him. Practiced in the morning, practiced in the afternoon. He was really clumsy. And I thought, it'd probably be best to put him in a junior college. So my assistant, Bo Bonson, my administrative assistant, his father coached at Wharton Junior College, so we'll put him there. So I go to the home that night and make the deal, think it's all done. What an idiot. Played 14 years in the NBA, Rick Smits, wound up going to Marist because he wanted to go to a Division I school. And then we played the Yugoslavian national team here and beat him by 10 points. There's a knock on the door after the game, dressing room door. It's the coach. He said, Coach, my player would like to see you, the center. So I walk out in the hall, and he said, we've been on a tour, and he'd really like to play here. I said, well, we're pretty set at center. Vlade Divac. You want me to go on with my
We'll take a break,
comedy of errors?
We'll take a break, but I remember watching Sabonis, and I know you know Sabonis well. I thought he was the best big man out of Europe.
Correct.
Watching him, and I'm not the basketball guy, but I love basketball.
You know more basketball, and I thought maybe you had a little problem with basketball up here. You didn't know anything about it.
We're going to take a break. Loving it, Dale Brown. We got a lot to talk about. We'll be right back.
Louisiana Office Solutions Company is the complete answer for all your office products and janitorial supply needs. From supplies for school or your home office, to styrofoam cups for your restaurant, to pallets of paper and cleaning supplies for your business. Choose from a large selection of furniture from chairs to desks for office or home, traditional and contemporary styles, or work with our design team to create a complete furniture layout for your building. So call or come by Louisiana Office Solutions Company on Florida at Lobdell, where everyone is welcome.
Delta World Tire is 100% committed to making every part of your experience with us hassle-free and pleasant. Whether it's tires, brakes, oil change, or scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire's highest priority is serving you. If you're traveling this season, Delta World Tire is here to help you make sure your vehicle is road ready. If the tire needs replacing, the oil needs changing, or any other scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire wants to make sure you get there.
We're Delta World Tire.
Handling a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 888-8888 or go to getgordon.com.
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen, Louisiana Football TV magazine. I want to talk, before we talk about the legendary late John Wooden, that I know that you love dearly, UCLA, the greatest coach ever. I don't think anybody will, as you put it, will break his national championship record and many records. But before we get into that, I have a question for Coach Brown. And Coach, I've always wondered, I'm a fan of some of the players that played for you defensively. Who in your mind were your best defensive players that would go out and just shut someone down? I love Jerry Reynolds from New York. I thought the game against North Carolina in Chapel Hill, he made Michael Jordan look like he wasn't going to get drafted. I know people would say I'm crazy, but you know what I'm talking about.
I wouldn't put Jerry in that category.
That's
why you don't have any basketball people on. I'm teasing. No, I would say probably a defense is never, ever recognized by anybody.
Right.
But I would say probably the players I would say were the best defensive players were Ethan Martin. We called him the Thief. I would say that Bernard Woodside, Oliver Brown. This is going to surprise you. Kenny Walker told me he never had a guy he had to play against, was hard to play against, as Ricky Blanton.
Kenny Walker from Kentucky.
Kenny Walker. Right, Jim? You were at the banquet. Jim
Kenny
Talbot
was
sitting
the most
over there.
athletic 6'8" forward, right, Coach? That
Greg
Ricky
Cook.
at the guard. Cookie Man.
Couldn't dunk. He had one dunk in his whole career in the
Wow.
Superdome. But he was they were role players.
Yeah.
They weren't all thinking of going to the NBA.
Right.
Leonard Mitchell was a good defensive player. Howard Carter ate Kyle Macy up at Kentucky. Those come to mind now. Shaquille, he was good defensively. Now, when he went away from the basket, I told him, Leitner's going to go out, try to shoot the three. Don't go out after him, he'll go around you.
I thought it'd be a question you would like.
Don't shoot, Jose.
'Cause it's
He
not
went out after him.
Right, Coach? It's not a normally asked
But
question.
no, I've never had anybody ask.
Defense.
Me. No. Yeah.
Because I like to watch defense and when I watch games. John Wooden, what did he mean to you? And I know we've got about 3 minutes. I want to get more Wooden questions to you, but in one sentence, what did John Wooden mean to you?
John Wooden was, every time briefly, and it's hard for me to be brief.
Right.
If I say hello, it takes me a minute, as you well know.
Right.
John Wooden was this kind of a man. Every time I left him, I had a quest to want to be a better man. He had it all. He was intellectual, he was sincere, he was disciplinarian, he had it all.
10 national championships, John Wooden. UCLA has 11. 10. Will anybody beat John Wooden's 10 national championships?
There's 3 records that'll never be broken. 2 in college, 1 in the pros. The 2 in college are simple. No one will ever win 7 straight national championships. No one will ever win 10 out of 12 national championships. And no one will ever break Pete Maravich's record, 44.2 points a game. To give you an example, you want to break it? Just send your grandson, son, whoever it is, to school. All 4 years, he's got to score 15 three-pointers every game he plays. He'll beat it by 8/10 of a record. There was no three-point shot. There was no shot clock at the time. Sam King took the sheets they typed up. Pete Maravich would have averaged how many points? They didn't have one, but from where he shot, what would have been his average?
Pretty good.
53 to 54 points a game.
Gosh.
That's without even knowing them, just the shots he took.
My favorite LSU basketball player, Coach, that played for you was Howard Hossey Carter. I used to love his shot in the corner. I would practice it as a kid and think that I was Howard Hossey Carter growing up. And even on the goal I had, and I told you before the show, I had a goal on a tree. We didn't even have concrete. So I'd go to my friend's house, Dwayne Gautreaux, and shoot on his goal. He had a concrete slab and shoot till 11, 12 at night. But every time I'd watch string music with Howard Hossey Carter and Joe Dean being the sportscaster, he was incredible. And then Chris Jackson was my second favorite
Most
player.
uncomplicated person I think I've ever coached is Howard Carter. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. He was Steph Curry before Steph Curry was Steph Curry.
Yes.
And a sweeter, nicer person there wasn't. And why his flag is not hanging. Joe Oliva, if you're watching this, King Alexander, somebody, why don't you put his flag up there?
49 years old, still competing with
And
the
one
big
of the
three.
leading freshman scorer in the history of college basketball.
What do you think of him playing at 49, Coach?
Doesn't
Pro ball.
surprise me one bit. The lifestyle he lived, his attitude. You talk about coming from poverty, and we all got sob stories.
Gulfport, Mississippi.
Live Chris Jackson's sob story. Tremendous human being.
We're going to take a break. We're going to have more of Dale. We're going to have our principal call in from Barham High School. We'll be right back.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain? Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Well, it finally happened, Zachary. Somebody burned down my she shed.
Nobody burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Well, my she shed's on fire.
The she shed was struck by lightning.
Zachary, is my she shed covered by State Farm?
Your she shed's covered, Cheryl.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
She shed?
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful news.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call or visit State Farm agent David Wilcox in Gonzales today.
Handling a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 888-8888 or go to getgordon.com.
Welcome back to Louisiana Football Magazine. I thought we had Randy Yellott from Barb, but it sounds like he's not with us now. But before we get him back, I want to go back to Dale Brown and talk about real quick, Coach, your thoughts on Will Wade, current LSU basketball coach. Great guy, great young coach.
We had luncheon a few weeks back. Now again, all of us will look good in an inaugural parade. This is going to be more than an inaugural parade with him. He's one of the best listeners I've ever been around. He's charismatic, he's real, he's knowledgeable, he's enthusiastic, he's sincere. You didn't need a selection committee to pick this young man.
All the boxes are checked.
He may have one of the best recruiting classes in the history of LSU basketball. And you know what? I like him. He's a good person.
Your feel for him, can they keep him, you think, if he does hit all these major goals, which I think he will? Championships, I think, are on the horizon, whether it's this coming year or after the year after. But
why would you want to leave here? If you help rejuvenate this program, you're making $2.5 million a year. Yeah, it's going to go up, and et cetera.
That's what people need to hear, because that's
why would you? And I don't think he's the kind of guy that wants to jump around anyway.
Good. Coach, we have a former basketball coach who's the principal of Barb High School. Randy, thanks for joining us. Randy? Do we have Randy? Randy, Lieber Keene, you're on TV. Coach, Randy Yellott.
Well, we've got a substitute here.
Okay.
We got a guy that thinks he's a coach.
Well, since it didn't work, we'll get Randy on a future show. But bring up real quick the picture of Luke Richard. I wanted to get this in here no matter what. This is a Barb quarterback, Coach Brown, and Jim Talbot, who's also here, Dale's friend. And this is one of the top young quarterbacks in the country, I think. 6'2", almost 6'2". We got him at 6'1". He's a smart kid. Biggest thing is he's a leader. And he's got all the intangibles. He's good feet in the pocket, strong arm. I think he's LSU good. He's not ranked. He doesn't have any of these crazy star rankings. But throw all that away. This kid has it. And when I mean it, I think he's a Jake Delhomme type who was only 160 out of high school. Remember what happened with Jake Delhomme? Went to USL, ended up being 220 pounds, and playing in the Super Bowl for the Carolina Panthers one day.
You said he doesn't have the recognition out of high school? Let me tell you a story. I went to watch a game. It was at McKinley High. I wasn't to see McKinley. It was Baton Rouge High, I think they were playing. At halftime, I turned to some kids in back of me, and I said, who's that little point guard out there for McKinley? The one guy said, I don't know. And he said, who is that? He said, Ethan Martin. So I waited. Game was over. Coach came out of the dressing room, and I asked him, I said, you're a little point guard. I said, how many scholarships does he have? My point guard, he said, none. Ethan Martin has no scholarships? He said, none. Now, after we recruited him, I believe Southern got involved. I said, I'll offer him right now a 4-year scholarship to come to LSU.
That's amazing, Coach.
It'll be a long time before anyone can equal his statistics.
My favorite point guard of all time at LSU was Ethan.
Now, you know, many times sitting next to me is Jim Talbot, my best friend. Many times the coach gets all the accolades. there's so many people behind the scenes. I mean, jobbers that I can talk about that help
supporters
me.
And
when nobody they didn't have a job program, but some people came to aid. Jim Talbot helped me get inside LSU basketball going, and because of him, we recruited a kid by the name of Leonard Mitchell, best player in the state and one of the best in the country.
St. Martinville High School.
St. Martinville. When I finished, I said, any questions? And his mother said to me, Coach Brown, if Leonard comes to LSU, can he be on your Inside LSU Basketball show? Jim Talbot's sitting out in the other room, and he says, he can run the show. Is that what you said?
I said,
he can have the show. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes. I mean, I'm thinking of guys that were with me early, you know, Jim Moore, Al Guglielmo, Redfield Bryan, Tom Moran, and a whole litany of people. You don't know about these people that are there trying to help you in your program.
Coach, we got about a minute left. We got a segment left. We're going to have McConaughey, the actor, famous actor out of Hollywood, has actually got a great motivational video we're going to show that you gave us. But before we go to break, any message you have for kids out there that pick up a basketball at the age of 7 or age of 10 and want to get into basketball, the excitement of basketball is coming back since you were the coach, and I know that Brady did a good job, and then we've got Will Wade getting people excited in Louisiana, but basketball is very passionate in the state. There's a lot of good high school coaches in the state. Anything you'd like to say to the coaches or kids coming up in basketball, any advice?
Two of the best high school coaches I've seen in the country are in this state, Gary Dewey and Kenny Ullman. They're both the Methuselahs of coaching.
Great guys.
But I know what it did for me. It was a father substitute. It gave me the first self-confidence in myself, taught me teamwork. I had no chance of going to college. Mother was on welfare, a maid, making 50 cents an hour. I knew I had to get a scholarship. Thank God for sports, and thank God for a coach that put his arm around me one time after disciplining me, the ex-coach, bawling me out, and then 2 seconds later he slapped the back of my neck and he took off and he said, I love you, Dale Brown. I turned and looked at him and I thought, that's the first male that ever told me he loved me. So if you are coaching out there, you don't have to be grabbing guys by the throat and swearing at them and intimidating.
Bobby Knight style.
Yeah, you don't have to do that. John Wooden, first sign of strength, Abraham Lincoln said, is gentleness. I was a stern disciplinarian. You broke a rule, you knew what the rules were, I didn't bend them. So sports can be a tremendous, I went to little leagues, sometimes I'm so sad about the parents hollering at the referees and the coaches hollering at the little 8, 9-year-old kids.
Coach, we're going to take a break. When I come back, I'm going to have a couple of football questions for you. Ed Orgeron.
Oh, I know we had to get into football.
Well, I got to get your opinion of LSU
Oh, my
football.
golly. I'm going to boycott this.
And the late Billy Cannon, your thoughts on how well you knew of Billy before you came to Louisiana from North Dakota. We'll be right back.
Delta World Tire is 100% committed to making every part of your experience with us hassle-free and pleasant. Whether it's tires, brakes, oil change, or scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire's highest priority is serving you. If you're traveling this season, Delta World Tire is here to help you make sure your vehicle is road ready. If the tire needs replacing, the oil needs changing, or any other scheduled maintenance, Delta World Tire wants to make sure you get there.
We're Delta World Tire.
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows.
Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Relief Windows.
Honey, what's wrong with the disposer?
What disposer?
Clogged drain? Call Roto-Rooter, America's neighborhood drain expert.
Finally got me, Ben.
What's that, Rick?
The Clark Street crater, the mother of all potholes. For decades, it's tormented the people of this town. They try to fill it, but it always returns. Got me good.
But you know State Farm's got you, too.
You ain't nothing!
Are you trash talking a pothole?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Call or visit State Farm agent Bill Barkus in Baton Rouge today.
Handling a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 888-8888 or go to getgordon.com.
Lee Burkeen having some basketball talk. I'm loving it. I grew up a football, basketball fan. One of my heroes, Dale Brown's on. Grew up watching all his great teams. The Final Four, he had 2 Final Four teams. Coach of the Year 4 times. Earned 2 Final Four appearances in 81 and 86. Won 448 games, 13 NCAA tournament appearances. And LSU had only been to 2 NCAA tournaments prior to that in the history of the program. I also want to mention for those Shreveport viewers, I don't want to leave basketball out, a famous name that I know Dale Brown knows, Robert Parrish, who went to Woodlawn High School, played at Centenary, which has an enrollment less than 1,500 kids. Robert Parrish was a great player.
I recruited Robert Parrish and Edmund Lawrence to come to Washington State.
Wow.
I was at Washington. I came to Louisiana.
To recruit.
I recruited Louis Dunbar to Utah State, by the way.
Wow.
But when I got to the state, everything was pretty well. You know, they had made up their minds, so I couldn't transfer it to LSU.
And so many good basketball players, Coach, that kind of took it to another level that weren't highly recruited. Joe
Can I give you an example of that? Here's a perfect example. Had LSU been thinking properly, Elvin Hayes, is he one of the greatest of all times?
Yes.
Okay, let me tell you a story on Elvin Hayes. Elvin came down for a function.
Houston University.
Correct. We're talking, and he says, Coach, you know what? I'm from Rayville, Louisiana. I wanted to come to LSU so bad.
I didn't even know he was from Louisiana, Coach.
Rayville, Louisiana. He said, they never recruited me. I wrote a letter and told them I don't want to go any place but LSU.
Wow.
LSU never talked to him, never recruited him. And there's a whole litany of those guys that were great players. That had there not been that prejudice, just imagine how sooner LSU could have built their program.
Yeah, there was some great.
And there's a whole litany of them. I can name you.
But I'm throwing out these basketball greats for the game of basketball in Louisiana. You know, people don't realize how many. Andrew Toney went to USL, played for the 76ers. Joe Dumars went to McNeese, played in the Pistons.
We took Derek Taylor over Joe Dumars. That's what I thought of Derek Taylor.
There you go. And look, we're going to go ahead because we want to get it in. Coach Brown gave us this video. But Mr. McConaughey, the actor, Matthew, we're going to go ahead and show a video, an inspiration video of Matthew McConaughey.
If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. You see, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently and you're going to be unhappy much of your time. Joy, though, joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do, no matter the outcome. Now, personally, as an actor, I started enjoying my work and literally being more happy when I stopped trying to make the daily labor a means to a certain end. For example, I need this film to be a box office success. You know, I need my performance to be acknowledged. I need the respect of my peers. All those are reasonable aspirations, but the truth is, as soon as the work, the daily making of the movie, the doing of the deed became the reward in itself for me, I got more box office, more accolades and respect than I ever had before. See, joy is always in process. It's under construction. It is in constant approach, alive and well in the doing of what we're fashioned to do and enjoying it. Now, the easiest way to dissect success is through gratitude. Giving thanks for that which we do have, for what is working. Appreciating the simple things we sometimes take for granted. We give thanks for these things, and that gratitude reciprocates, creating more to be thankful for. It's really simple, and it works.
A powerful inspiration video that anybody should watch. And Coach, that's powerful.
He's a real genuine guy. I got a call one day. My secretary was gone. It was about lunch period. Yeah, is Coach Brown there? And I said, yeah, this is Dale. Hey, Dale, Matthew McConaughey. He said, oh, I know who that is. Jim Talbot's getting me back. So, how you doing? I thought it was somebody joking with me. Sam King or Jim are the masters of that. Well, it really was Matthew McConaughey. Came to the office. He was doing a movie on Marshall, and he wanted to know. He said, I don't know anything about coaching. He said, I want to ask you he had a bunch of questions. He tape recorded them. He was just so genuine. Here's a guy, every magazine, the sex symbol of the country.
Top of the world.
No ego at all. None. Zero.
Good. And UT fan, University of Texas fan. Want to get this in before we go. We got a minute left. Dale Brown beat Kentucky 18 times. Most wins of any LSU coach. Kentucky has 47 SEC titles. LSU second with 10. And Kentucky, interesting facts, LSU and Dale Brown gave Kentucky their worst loss. I watched the game. They beat them by 35 points.
Worst loss in the history of Kentucky at
Rupp Arena. Coach, it's been a pleasure.
Lee, I'm glad you're much more intellectual than I thought you were.
Thank you.
And he just won the award. The oldest deputy sheriff in the United States, they gave him a trophy, Jim Talbot.
Jim Talbot, who did the greatest sports show for LSU sports in the 80s for LSU basketball. That's a wrap. Thanks for everybody. Thanks Dale Brown, Jim Talbot coming in, all the staff, everybody here from the camera people to production. We'll see you statewide all this week, and next week we'll be back.